Attention viewers, do not try anything you're about to see at home.
We're what you call experts.
On this blockbusting, epic episode of Mythbusters.
Hold on!
James Cameron
Yeah, baby.
This is James friggin' Cameron.
has a conundrum.
I am indeed James frickin' Cameron.
Thousands of furious fans flooding the internet claim Cameron got it wrong.
It's alive!
That Rose
Don't call me Rose.
and Jack could have both lived to tell their Titanic tale by sharing their floating flotsam.
Stay on, Rose.
Meanwhile, surf's up and away for Carrie, Grant, Tori,
What could possibly go wrong?
and Buster. Our trio of intrepid rocket scientists ask,
Yeah, that was a crazy flip.
can you really catch a wild, rad ride with rockets? Who are the Mythbusters? Adam Savage
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
and Jamie Heineman.
We're gonna have an adventure.
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience. Together with Tori Belleci,
Time to go diving.
Grant Imahara,
Start the car!
and Carrie Byron. They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test. First up, Adam and Jamie tackle an internet sensation that's causing an A-list viewer extreme vexation.
Hey,
Hey, we have a very exciting myth today from an unbelievably special viewer.
who's that?
None other than James Cameron.
You mean that guy that went to the bottom of the Marianas Trench?
That's the guy. I was thinking of him more as a movie director, but yes, that's the guy.
So, James Cameron also directs movies, is what you're telling me.
Yes, he does.
Really? So what's his myth?
Actually, I think we should talk to him.
Okay.
Hey, James.
Hey.
Could you tell Jamie what you told me?
Sure. So for the last few months since I released Titanic in 3D, I've been getting dozens of emails every day saying that Rose is a selfish so-and-so and Jack's an idiot.
Who are Rose and Jack?
Two main characters of the movie.
All right, Jamie, at the end of the film Titanic, Rose and Jack are distributed among the detritus of the sunken ship, and Rose is perched on a piece of wood, and Jack is not.
Because there wasn't enough buoyancy to support both of them?
Right, and Jack makes the ultimate sacrifice, and he dies so that Rose can live.
Right, so anyway, these thousands of fans think that I got it wrong and that they both could have been supported by the board and they both could have lived, so this is what I want you guys to test.
Wait, so you made a movie about the Titanic?
Yes.
Why would you do that? We already know how it ends.
He doesn't get out much, does he?
No, he doesn't.
The movie, the second highest grossing of all time, was anything but a disaster. But the ending has caused a storm of protest. Desperate to survive in the freezing cold North Atlantic,
Stay on. Stay on, Rose.
Jack and Rose attempt to clamber onto a piece of debris. And seemingly, there's room aboard for just one. And Jack, being the noble hero he is, sacrifices himself to keep Rose's head above water. But multitudes of Titanic and Mythbuster fans don't believe it. James Cameron's inbox has been flooded with the theory that both hero and heroine could have lived to tell their Titanic tale.
Okay, so I need you guys to find out who's right. These so-called fans or my movie.
Okay, it seems to me the place we start is with buoyancy. The question is, could the board possibly have supported both Rose and Jack?
I agree, but the second issue is about survival in those freezing conditions.
You mean if they both could have died regardless of the board?
Exactly.
All right, well, let's say I get started doing some small-scale testing with the mini board and the mini Rose and Jack.
And why don't I start to prep for some hypothermia tests?
And I'll get back to sweeping up.
Awesome.
So the epic full-scale Jack and Rose reenactment comes later.
Let's see if we can both get on this thing.
Because this Titanic tale won't set sail until it's been tested in safer waters, where the guys opt for an efficient division of labor. Jamie's taking charge of how to quantify and replicate the hero's hypothermia, and grumble about the lack of logic in love. while Adam's cutting things down to size.
Okay, the myth in miniature. So what are you going to do?
I'm glad you asked. I'm going to start by playing with dolls. I'm going to make some very accurate dolls of Rose and Jack, accurate both in terms of their size, but also in their weight. And then I'm going to put them on a piece of wood that is exactly the same type of wood as the original.
Right, so white oak.
Yes, and basically put that in a tub full of salty water and see what happens.
And prove my movie was right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
With Adam's quarter-sized dolls cut and sewn, they're ready to put on some weight. Exactly how much is kind of clever.
Now, given that this guy is 1/4 my size, does that make him 1/4 my weight? No! Let me explain, because most people get this wrong. This is a 2-inch cube of aluminum. This is exactly 1/4 scale, a 1/2-inch cube of aluminum. This one weighs 352 grams. This one weighs 5.5 grams. Actually, just a shade under. How do we get there from there? Well, what you do is you scale by what's called the cube root. That means 3 separate times because there are 3 separate dimensions, length, width, and height. You take 352 and divide it by 4. Divide it by 4 again and divide it by 4 one more time and you get 5.5 grams. Isn't that cool?
And to achieve the correctly scaled weights, Adam fills the dolls with beans and, knowledge.
Oh, ready, Jack? I'm gonna fill your head full of knowledge. Learn that stuff. Yeah, it's good for you. Science. Math.
Next up, Adam brings the same scaling rigor to the key prop piece. Using the same type of wood, he accurately scales each dimension by 1/4. And with a final coat of theatrical magic,
Perfect.
Adam is just a bathtub full of salty seawater, short of being ready.
Excellent. We are at a proper level of ocean salinity. All right, we're getting ready for a 1/4 scale test. I've got my piece of wood that Rose floated on, and I've got a scale-weighted Rose. We should see identical behavior to the full-size one. Here we go. Rose lies down on it. Oh, that actually, wow. In the movie, you can see that it's lapping on most of the board, and that's exactly what we're getting here.
So far, so good. Adam's eye for detailed and mathematically accurate scaling has paid off. Now, what about the myth itself? Could Jack have jumped aboard?
Here we go. Jack and Rose. Nope. Whoa, they're about sinking. Hold on. It doesn't look like they can stay afloat.
That means this maiden voyage myth is on thin ice, and the movie's looking like the real deal.
Science is on my side.
So what we see in the movie where he tries to climb on and the thing starts to tip over, seems like it's totally accurate. There they go. Well, it seems that all the time I spent making my dolls exactly 1/4 scale to their counterparts and using the exact same wood for the wood piece has paid off. We've learned some important things in scale. First and foremost, it would seem that all the behavior we see out of this piece of wood in the movie is accurate to reality. It is just barely buoyant enough to hold Rose's body out of the water. It also appears that it is not buoyant enough to keep Rose and Jack's body out of the water. Now, of course, Jamie and I are going to experiment with this in full scale.
Yep, it's too early to call it yet.
There they go.
Because the problem is not just about buoyancy. To find out if the film failed in the survivability stakes, Adam and Jamie will examine every aspect of cold water endurance.
It's alive!
Enter Thermo Man.
There it goes.
Whoa! Adam and Jamie, cyborg midwives.
Up next, Cary, Grant, and Tori are counting down to a wet and wild liftoff.
All right, I have a myth for you guys that I have been wanting to try since I started surfing.
What?
A California surfer moves to the Midwest and gets a little frustrated.
Oh, let me guess. No waves, dude.
Exactly. But instead of getting bummed out, he decides to make a rocket-powered surfboard.
Are you kidding me? Are you making this up?
No! Is that perfect? He takes a giant rocket, straps it to a surfboard, heads out onto a flat lake, and starts surfing.
Okay, no waves, no problem. I like it.
The story goes that a souped-up surfboard gave its rider a 20 miles per hour ride for 30 nail-biting seconds. But could a single supersized rocket really turn a languid lake into a radical ride? Or will this myth be a Duncan disaster?
All right, what do you guys think?
Okay, well, I have my doubts. Large rockets tend to have a lot of thrust in over a really small period of time.
Fair enough, but we have to start somewhere. So let's just start with Buster on a surfboard with one really big rocket.
All right, well, I know just the place.
Look how gorgeous this is.
Man, it's totally flat. There's no waves. But that's no problem for us.
No problem at all.
We're here at the Quarry Lakes, the East Bay Regional Parks District, so that we can test the rocket surfer myth. Now, this myth is where a guy straps one big rocket to his surfboard and sails across the lake going 20 miles an hour for a 30-second ride. Why? Because lakes are flat. They don't have waves. No matter what, this is going to be an awesome day.
You guys ready to rock it?
Yeah, Mythbusters style.
This is our rocket surfboard. Just like in the myth, one big rocket.
Surf's up, dude.
Now, because we don't know exactly what's going to happen, we're going to use Buster. And because Buster can't stand, I've built this back at the shop. I'm going to attach it to this and see how it goes. Nice pose, dude. This is our rocket motor stand. This is what goes inside of it. It's a Cesaroni K motor. You may remember from our James Bond ejector seat episode, 4 of these is enough to launch a guy straight up in the air about 25 feet. Fire! And because we're not fighting gravity on this, one of these should be more than enough to surf a lake.
The actual details of the rocket in the myth are few and far between.
Ouchie.
That's right, it's built for comfort.
But the advantage of their K motor is that it's both powerful and relatively available, making it a realistic rocket of choice.
Is it just me, or are we actually strapping rockets to a surfboard?
With Buster ready to ride, all that's left for this surfing saga is a helping hand.
So we learned through all of our various rocket experiments through the years that it's really important to keep your rocket stable using a rail system. And that's exactly what this is. This is a 20-foot long guide rail, hopefully keep the surfboard upright, at least for the first 20 feet.
Yep, the team has proven a stable launch is a prerequisite for a successful flight.
Oh, how's he looking?
All right, we're good. I hope this goes well, because if it does, I think I might want to go for a ride.
Contrary to the "don't try this at home" mantra, Tori's keen to take a turn to test this for himself.
All right, we're wired.
But first, let's see how badly Buster gets busted up.
This is Rocket Surfer with one big rocket. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
That looked a little dangerous.
That is a lot of thrust. Dude, that was a crazy flip.
Crazy flip is right. The moment Buster left the guide rail, he went heels over head. Literally.
So our rocket surfer got a perfect 10 for gymnastics. We got a nice loop-de-loo. What I think happened is that we had all of our weight in the back of the surfboard, as well as a huge amount of power, that impulse all at once, pushing our surfboard to curve upward and flip over.
Don't die on me.
You gonna be all right?
Nah, he's dead.
He's done.
Buster may be dead in the water, but the myth is hanging on. The team has a few ideas that might just bring it back to life. Coming up, when a Hollywood big hitter asks for myth-busting help.
It's like I just picked up all of my blood veins and laid them on the table.
Dr. Frankenheinemann makes a human metabolism.
It's beating just like a heart.
In 1912, the Titanic hit her iceberg nemesis and has lain in the eerie deep of the North Atlantic ever since. But in 2012, the ship has hit the fan for the movie. The fans are in a furious fever over the ending. So far, in small scale at least, it looks like Mr. Cameron nailed it.
It doesn't look like they can stay afloat.
Science is on my side.
But the guys aren't stopping there. To test the mortal limits of hypothermia, they're creating a stand-in with a circulatory system made from superconductive copper, embedded in gel close to the density of human flesh. It's complex and very, very cool.
I think that ought to work just fine.
Look, this whole thing boils down to whether the way their survival was portrayed was accurate. In addition to the main question, was the board big enough We also need to know whether, board or no board, anyone could have survived temperatures identical to those the day the Titanic sank.